Good morning. It is Sunday, June the 30th. Sunday, June the 30th. Time for Coffee Talk. I've got the coffee cup going on. I got the Friends of the Tank Museum coffee cup going on today. It's been a busy week without really much going on, I think, in World of Tanks. We've got some things to talk about as usual. First things I wanted to talk about was I did a video on this, but check out this flag back here. It says Guido 1212 on it, made of wood. Really cool, really cool. I got a video out there talking about who makes it. It's actually from a place called Braxton's Flags. Braxton's Flags. You can find them on Facebook. They will make you a custom flag. They've got all kinds of different ones. I know I showed this to you guys already, but for those of you that may have missed it, I'm just going to do this. I should take a picture of this and put it up, but I'm going to do it the cheesy way. See all the different kinds of flags right there. I really like the Gadsden and the American flag up there, but it's 4th of July, right? 4th of July is coming up. So if you're in the market for something like that, it's got a hanger on the back. Put it out on your porch. I did talk to them. They said they do seal the front, but if you're going to put it outside, probably want to seal the rest of it as well. So the front is protected, but a couple coats if you're going to put it outside, especially in a place like Florida or somewhere that's wet. Obviously, I wouldn't put it out where it's getting rained on, but I have a porch with a cover, so it may eventually go there, or it may go in my office. The problem with my office is, as you can see the windows? The whole thing is windows. So I don't have a wall space. That's kind of a bummer. Let's see. Oh, my chair. I didn't mention my chair. I got a brand new chair. The kids got that for me for Father's Day. Look at this bad boy. This thing is really comfortable. Very nice. So I can sit here and pontificate about World of Tanks. Hey, I've been playing World of Warships. Have you guys played any World of Warships? Anyone like World of Warships? Are you interested in me doing any content for World of Warships? I might do that on the side, start adding to it. I'm up to about tier 5, so it would be more of a noob kind of idea, learning how to play World of Warships. I've got a friend who's pretty good at it. Been teaching me some of the things. I dabbled in it here and there, but I've actually finally sort of got serious about it and been playing it a bit. Of course, that will cross the streams or separate the streams. I don't know how you want to look at it there. So I'm just curious what you guys think. Anybody play World of Warships or care enough for me to do some content? We shall find out. You'll see that the T50 PR prototype is in my garage. I actually used some of the funds from you guys from supporting the channel and supporting my stream, and I went ahead and bought this thing. It's one of the premiums that I wanted. As a CC, I get quite a few of the new ones, but the older things that pass by, there's still a couple out there that I'm kind of curious about or would like to have. So I was I was prototype curious, I guess. We'll just leave it there. Hey, I finished the King Tiger Sea missions. Some update on that. The experience that I kept saying I didn't know where it went, I finally figured out where it went. If you had the crew experience box checked, it was going to the crew, but it was acting like, you know, if you have that box checked, your crew gets trained, but the guy at the end, the least experienced one, gets double the experience the other guys do, to kind of keep them catching up so you don't get this really big disparity. Apparently what was happening is that big chunk in the case of the King Tiger Sea missions was being thrown on the lowest experienced guy each time, from what I can tell. Don't ask me, guys. I don't know. And what you will also know, or you will find out, you won't know if you, well, you will know if you know. If you know, you already know. But you're going to know if you don't know in just a minute. Sometimes it's about knowing what you don't know. That was a big buildup for something very simple. But over here, see this little icon, this little, I don't know what it's supposed to be. Maybe it's a university or a school or something. It's supposed to be like that. Little gold guy. Well, that's your least experienced guy, apparently. And that is the guy that gets the extra experience whenever things like that happen. I wish they had spread it across the entire crew, because 25,000 is quite a few. It's still possible that's what happened, but I'm pretty sure it went to my least experienced guy. We did that on stream. Somebody mentioned that. I wanted to mention it to you. I did not know. I know I've seen that symbol for a long time, just never really thought about it. I know I read that when you click this button, Accelerate Crew Training, that the last guy gets the extra experience thrown onto him. So I'd read all that, but I didn't really put 2 and 2 together, so that's pretty cool. Okay, stream. I don't know. Sometime on the 4th of July weekend, I think. I will try to advertise it, put it in the stream title here somewhere when I know when it's going to come. I have pop-up streams. I've done a couple this weekend as well. Some of you guys came by. I do appreciate that. So that was cool. And the last thing for news, I got my Microsoft account hacked. That was fun. So I went in there, checked it out, took it back with the two-factor authentication. By the way, make sure you do that on all your important stuff. Two-factor is awesome. It really does cut down. And even if they do hack in, you can get it back pretty easily and change your password. Unfortunately, that's one I hadn't thought about too much. I don't use my Microsoft account for a whole bunch, but my son's Xbox is on it. And it on my Word, I brought my Word document, and it said, hey, you're not logged in. I'm like, all right, what the hell's going on? So I go through the whole thing. I make sure I'm not getting, I got a couple emails on it, but I don't want to click on emails. So finally I went in through the front door, basically through their web page, all that kind of thing, and got it back. Then I'm looking at the account. Once I got it back, I'm like, well, let's go check the account. So I look at it, and I have like 6 or 7 Xboxes logged into my account. So because I have Xbox Gold for my son, somebody has piggybacked on my Xbox Gold. It doesn't look like they bought anything, which is a good thing. I think they would probably need my credit card number, and I don't know if you can automatically do that. You probably have to, if you put in a new Xbox, you probably have to put it in again. I don't know how that works, but I checked all my financial accounts, and it doesn't look like anybody snaked me. It just looked like they were piggybacking on the Xbox Gold account, but they've all been shut down. The funny thing is, one of them was an Xbox One. Somebody out there is still using an Xbox One. I've never owned an Xbox One, so all right, that is it for stream news, channel news. Let's move on to the missions and specials. First things first, we're going to talk about codes. Everyone loves codes. We've got to put our codes in. It's all about the code. It's so annoying. I wish that would go away, but it's not, apparently, not anytime soon. For your on track, you need a code, so go in there and get the code. You click on it, you go to here, you click redeem code, and it takes you straight to the code page, which you have heard my spiel on clicks to get things done. Highly annoying. We'll leave it at that. So there's the 110E5 for the on track if you want to do those codes, or if you want to do that on track, you've got to put that code in. Your tank mastery for the 4 different things you can get the little ace symbol for, 4 different codes. That's fantastic. 4 different codes. And those missions aren't even that good. All they give you is an emblem and 1 personal reserve if you ace it. There you go. The Hawk 30 is out. We'll talk about that in a minute. Special event, British Empire versus Colonial. We will also talk about that, because let's jump into the sneak preview for July on what's happening in July. Here it comes. British Empire versus Continental Army. I'll show you that when we get into the UI for the missions on that. Player tank class right will start again. It's still going for June. Remember, that will be a code, so somewhere around July 1st, you'll need to hunt that code down. Independence for everyone. I did not realize this, but we've got Argentina, Colombia, and Peru all lined up for independence. That's fantastic. Go America. Go North and South America and independence, but there'll be a lot of good stuff. ×2 XP, ×2 crew, 1.5 XP. How come? Now that is oh man, that is some real colonial BS right there, isn't it? Poor Peru only gets 1.5 and Argentina gets ×2. Does that strike anyone else as humorous? Things that make you say, all right. I'm not saying there's anything like, there's nothing, I'm not saying there's anything bad behind that. What's the word I'm looking for? It's too early to come up with big words. I can only say the small words. Poor Peru, man. I'm really feeling bad for Peru. Peru is getting nothing. They get 1.5. You're no Argentina, Peru. That I can tell you. That I can tell you. Fire trail. This is to get a cool tank. So if you are a organized play kind of person, realize that fire trail, you better hurry up. You need to get in a clan that's going to do it. And then you've got to play straight for 10 days. Whew, that's why I don't do it. I mean, I do play straight for 10 days, but not that much. It's crazy. Tank Mastery I talked about. Tank Rewards. Remember, Tank Rewards is finishing up, so get as much of that as you can. We will talk about the gold thing. That is one of the subjects du jour. And I'm talking about getting gold. Interesting thing there is I actually made a big long video about it, but I didn't release it, and I'm glad. So we'll talk about it when we get there. So those missions again will come up, and you're going to. You don't need a code though. That's good. I don't think you need a code. I don't remember. The UDA is 1516. So that will be the on track after the 110E5, which is current. Episode 6, folks. Episode 6, the 15th. Good. They've actually got the time out a little bit early this time, it looks like. It appears to be the 3rd week of every month so far. So if you're looking to add that to your calendar, the guess is the 3rd week of every month, and that's borne out more or less. Probably more than less, because it has been the 3rd week of every month. Special event, a race for the moon. No details, so something about from July 19th to August 5th. Something about the moon race between the USSR and the USA. So there you go. Those are them. And I think that's it for here. Other than the premium shop, we're going to jump over here. I don't have much for you on the premium shop, guys. You know, you just keep on spending all that money. That's how we roll. The Hawk 30 is in the premium shop. I actually used a coupon today to get that T50 PR that I talked about, so it knocked it down to 38 bucks, which I thought was pretty reasonable for a tier 8. I bought just the tank, not the one with all the extra accoutrement added to it. Gold wise, not a whole lot going on here, just a few discounts on small things, or a 28% on the war chest. 10 million credits and 10,000 gold. That, well, you know my feelings on buying silver with real money. That's crazy. Some of my coupons apply to premium days. That's not always true. It has been for a while, but there was a long time where it was very difficult to get any kind of discount on premium days, so that's pretty interesting right there. Drops a year down to 96. It's not huge, but it's a little bit. Come over here. Again, like I said, it's kind of a eclectic mix. The PR's in there, the bloody pack 40 thing, 36 pack 40 is in. This is a beast at that tier. Not a lot of mobility, but the gun is ridiculous. And, you know, we got crazy stuff. We got a Sturv. We got the Sturv Medium. We've got the 1357, the KV-122. These are just a really strange mix of tanks right here. The Hawk 30 I mentioned, and that's pretty much all that's going on there. And all the same. Here's that parking pass is always a good deal. It's only $7 for 10. Half off. But look, you can get all kinds of garage slots. I picked up 2 just in tank rewards. There was one for I think the 2nd set of rewards, and if you didn't get the tank, which we'll talk about, you got at least the slot. So it is pretty easy to pick up a lot of slots. I have 400 tanks in my garage. I have another 20 slots that are open. So not too hard to pick up slots, even if you're a free-to-play player. Okay, that is everything for the shilling. I know it was a weak effort at shilling this week, so let's move on. First thing I wanted to mention when I got in here, and I have been angry about this for a year probably, and I know I've mentioned it multiple times. And what's funny is there was a relatively simple fix, but it's an interesting situation. Notice that right here, you can see the entire date. Remember how I used to not be able to see the entire date on some of these cards? And I would say, holy cow, how come I can't see the date? There's plenty of room. Well, I don't know what the exact problem is, although I suspect it has to do with optimizing for multiple resolutions across your UI, which is not easy sometimes. Well, let's call it not straightforward. It's relatively easy. People who code and build these know how to do it. It's just making sure that all the different resolutions work, because you have a lot of possibilities when you go into your settings, especially for World of Tanks and really any computer game these days, based on a wide variety and resolutions of monitors, there's a lot of options. So I would always get something like, from Saturday, June 1, 20, ... through Monday, July 1, ... or something. Some would show, some wouldn't. And today I was looking at it, I said, you know what? I've mentioned it several times. Let's just change the resolution. Let's drop it down, see if I can find a resolution. This is set up to a very high resolution because the native for a 4K monitor is pretty dang high. It's a big monitor. Not top end, but medium quality, and can handle quite a few of the pixels there. So I dropped it down to, I want to say 16 by 1200, 1600 by 1200 or something, and then set it back up, and voila, I have all of the words and letters and everything. So I don't know if that will necessarily work for you if you were having the same problem, but I'd give it a shot. Change the resolution down, bring it back up. I actually shut the program down and started it back up, thinking, well, maybe it'll reset itself to being crap again. And it seems to, at this point, on a test case of exactly one shutdown and restart, take that for what it's worth, it seemed to fix the problem. So these are the little graphical situations that when you're developing and you've got your customer base talking about things that are happening in your client and your game, because there are so many different possibilities, a lot of times it's hard to track it down, or it's just below the noise level. They go, yeah, 0.1% or 1% of our customers have a small issue with these dates not showing, whatever. Right? It's too much effort to track that down for too little reward, kind of thing. So I just thought that was interesting. I'm not really calling on them to do anything about it necessarily. Ideally, you would optimize your UI for all the different resolutions, but it isn't really as easy or as simple, I guess, as it sounds. Well, that's that. That's a lot. That's a lot about my screen resolution, wasn't it? Right. Player tank class right. There's really nothing to talk about there. It's the same thing. Tank mastery is currently the 57 Sheridan and some other stuff. T25 AT. Interesting that they've taken away the premium tank that they used to have for that. There used to be one premium tank every time for tank mastery. I said we talk about this. I picked Continental Army, of course, which means you have to play American tanks. The assumption is that if you're British Empire, you're playing British tanks, you will get a stamp added to the collection O stamps for your side by damaging 7 vehicles. You'll get 2 every time you damage, you'll get 2 every time you damage 7 vehicles. You'll get 1 every time. Wait a minute. What is happening here? Damaged? Well, I thought it was destroyed. Premium fight for the USA. Isn't that nice when the light bulb goes off, Someone's sitting there talking and yapping, and then all of a sudden they look at it and say, oh, premium fight for the... I didn't realize that they did that. And it's ×2. Oh, wargaming. Why do you do these things? That's... Well, there you are. There you go, folks. You get 2 stamps if you use a premium, and you get 1 if you use a tech tree tank. Close. Okay, Echo. This thing, I've been complaining about this thing for a couple weeks now, how it's confusing. I sort of kind of figured it out, but it's still kind of crazy. All right. The first, second, third, and fourth reward. This is... All right. First, second, and third reward are simply destroy tanks. So the first one, you destroy 15, you got 10,000. Then you destroy another 20, you got 20,000. Then you destroy 25, you got another 30,000. That goes back to where that experience goes. I already discussed that. Then there's the fourth reward, which seems like it would be just the daily reward or something. But anyway, that was daily. So if you destroyed an enemy vehicle, you got a stamp, and you got 25,000 experience, which is a decent deal. And then those stamps, which is this stamp, right? Sniper token. If you come over here to the fifth reward, I think it was, that's tracking it. No, it's this one that's tracking it, right? There we go. No, wait a minute. See, this is what drives... I'm going to start raging again. There we go. This is it? Yes. Okay. Sniper token. That was daily. So you had to do that 30 days. I only did 17 of the days, which would be, you should have played the tank every day if you wanted to get all the rewards is the point. That's how it worked, right? You had to kill tanks, you got those. Then you had to do the daily thing, which was called fourth reward, which gave you sniper tokens. And you needed 30 of those. And once you did 30 of those, you got 25,000 and the final reward, which you had to have the sniper token and 3 fire tokens, which I don't remember. Oh, those were the first, second, and third. Basically, you had to do all the rewards except the daily. But you did the daily because you had to do the daily to get this one, which was actually not this one, but was the fourth reward. Is that clear now? You guys got it? That's how it worked. I figured it out. I did. All right. So anyway, Echo, there you go. 110E5 on track. We're having too much fun with this. I feel like we need a tangent, but I don't have a subject for one yet. Did we go on one already? Well, the Microsoft thing wasn't really a tangent. Other missions, nothing there. I still have my T-34B missions. You got X number. How many do I have left? Does it say? Left 20. Oh, I've not really played the T-34B. Why? Because I have a T-34. And then the premium missions. Okay, so that's the UI. Where are we? Where are we? We're going to move on. Let's see. Subjects du jour. Let's move on to subjects du jour. You know what? I have to make another coffee. Isn't that flag pretty cool? I know I have viewers from other countries and stuff. Here's a tangent. A lot of people think Americans are pretty jingoistic. Like that? Jingoistic? Kind of hyper partisan or hyper patriotic, I guess. And I think that's probably fair and true to some extent. But as long as it doesn't become kind of this, in your face toxic kind of deal. I hate that I just used the word toxic, by the way. Now that's in my lexicon. That word has seeped into my common use, and it drives me crazy. But anyway, where were we? Oh, we were talking about flags and stuff. Anyway, I just hope it doesn't irritate people. You know what I mean? And even the fact that I'm sort of mentioning it kind of irritates me a little bit. But I don't know. You see a lot of people in the news just being real dirtbags about stuff, on either side. Why can't we just celebrate? Someone wants to say, hey, here's my British flag. That doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? That was a bit of a tangent. We just took a dark dive. We're having a really nice time, and then all of a sudden I'm talking international politics and flags. Because for some reason I feel like I need to defend that I have my flag back there. Man, it is a weird, wacky world we live in, guys. Weird and wacky. We're going to get to subjects du jour, but first I am going to go get another coffee. Did I mention this great cup I got from one of you guys? Friends of the Tank Museum. Is it Bovington or Bovington? Or do you have to say it with a British accent? Bovington. That's not British. That's like a weird American Northeast accent with kind of a growl. This is fantastic because I know we needed a bit of a rant and a bit of a whatever the word is. All right, I'm just going to stop recording for a minute, go make my coffee, and we'll be back. Tangent. The word's tangent. That's what I was looking for. All right, I've made a critical error in my coffee making here. I left a little bit too much unimbibed on the bottom. Then I put the new Keurig and I filled it up, and then I filled up my my creamer, and now I'm max performing this cute little English teacup sized coffee cup. All right, just kidding, England. Just kidding. But, when you drink coffee like you're a Englishman, you got to put your pinky out. All right, so that's related to the earlier, right? I have to keep up appearances. Americans are uncouth colonials, so just making sure. All right, where were we? What are we talking about? We are moving on to subjects du jour. Brit lights are coming, guys. Brit lights. Interesting. So finally, a light tank line for the British. Armored Patrol, Super Test, Manicore. So these things are coming into Super Test. Really strange looking little tanks. Actually, very similar to the French tank. Look at the size of the gun. Does that not look like it would just... I don't understand how that gun would fire without either tearing the turret off or flipping the tank over. I don't. Does it scoot back 10 feet every time it fires? I don't know. It has to brace itself, and look at that. It's crazy. All right, so that's on the way. There are a bunch of codes that were related to Tank Fest. I've tried all of them. They all seem to have expired. But the best place to track those codes is either Reddit or on these various blogs. But you kind of have to watch for them, and as soon as they show up, you got to try them. They're not all NA. A lot of them are EU. Some are both. It just kind of depends. But Tank Fest has been going on. So far, I've been unlucky, and none of them work. So I'm not even going to advertise them because, for example, Bovington and Watt is crossed through. It's already expired. But you might be able to catch a few more of them today because it's a new day, last day of Tank Fest, I believe, on Sunday, and it's probably wrapping up because what is it? It's 8 here, and it's in the afternoon over there, 5 hours later. Mid to late afternoon, or early to mid-afternoon, I guess. And there's some other codes in here. This is talking about tank mastery. Light tanks. All right, this is the one I wanted to talk about here. I have noticed, or have noted this in the past, and it's just common sense, but folks, if you are using mods, think about that very carefully because they are not easy to parse for wargaming. Once again, going back to my limited knowledge of development and the partner in the business and all that stuff who knows about it, that when I say it's not easy for them to parse or look at, it is easy to get into the code, but there are ways to hide things. You can read this article, it talks about it. And it becomes a question of the time the company has to dig through all of the code and to look for hidden code and BS from third-party mod producers. Am I claiming that all the third-party mod users out there are trying to hack into your computer? I am not. Am I noting that it is very possible and fairly common for people to hide malware, tracking programs, and other mess in items that you download from the internet? Well, yeah, that happens, right? I think we all know that. But the idea that wargaming has this big division who's busily making sure that every mod is on this up and up is, I think that's a little far-fetched. Now, they're doing what they can do. I would assume that they look at it to some extent, but we've already found things like cryptocurrency mining in one guy's stuff. We had the mod, recently that was not helping, but it was not working correctly. So Skill was getting a slight advantage in certain scenarios with it. Unbeknownst to him, he didn't do it on purpose, blah, blah, blah. But it proves a capability, and I've talked about that in Coffee Talks. So this is a pretty long article talking about it. Mods themselves consist of Python program code, images, and flashes. Python code is human readable, and even Python bytecode can be easily decompiled back to source. Okay, that's good. This makes checking mods easier and should provide tools for wargaming HUD mod reviewers to verify. Unfortunately, now here's the kicker. This works only in theory. Many mod makers appear to be obfuscating their Python bytecode using PJ Orion, amongst other things. The program breaks the bytecode so that it cannot be decompiled and checked. Well, why would you do that? Because you have malware or some other BS going on in your code. Or it's proprietary and you just don't want people to get it and figure out how you did it. That's possible as well. So several reasons to do it. One of them, though, is to hide malicious code in the software that you're downloading. So I would think long and hard before I put on any mods. It is one of the main reasons I stopped using them. The other one being I just got tired of hunting them, and that was just pure laziness. They do provide a lot of good stuff. They really do. They do. But a lot of it has been implemented in the game UI, not very well in some cases. At least it's something. So you have to make that personal decision on what you want to do. But my advice, if someone asked me, I would tell them don't do it. That, plain and simple. I've talked about it. I've gone through several hacking attacks, mostly stealing passwords. not because my passwords were easy, but because several different companies got compromised. I can pretty much track back who it was. And that's a whole other subject, you know, getting an email from a company saying, hey, we think your account might have been compromised. Oh, really? So you lost my password and login stuff? Which is, that's the translation. Anyway, that's what I have to say about security risk. All right, Twitch Prime Foxtrot. That's the next Twitch Prime package. Echo, remember, was the King Tiger. So we were going to get Harold Nelson Scott. Get it? Nelson Scott. A new exclusive British commander with 3 skills. Remember, we got the American. Look at this guy. Is that? That's. I didn't. Oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh, I should. Uh-oh. What happened to him? Where's Nelson Scott? Oh my gosh. This is terrible. There it is. All right, Nelson Scott is back. We'll leave Nelson Scott. We won't try to click on that anymore. There he is. That's fantastic. A 5 o'clock emblem. Get it? 5 o'clock? 50 gold. So you get an emblem, you'll get a medal. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to talk about medals. And another medal. Combat missions. Whatever they are. We got missions for the King Tiger. So we're going to get some kind of mission. Combat mission ×5. Equipment other. 2 rental tanks. One should be the 5/1. Other is unknown. I do not have any actual essay on that. Could it be another King Tiger kind of idea? Are there any British tank? Maybe there's a British premium light tank coming? No. I don't want to get everyone excited. I don't know what it is. It's a good question. There's your medals, dudes. Pretty cool, huh? All right. New T-78 camo style. Style came with the new micro patch. There doesn't seem to be a T-78 in there yet. Although it's a tank destroyer, I think there's some essay on it. Whether it's actually in the files now or not, I don't know. Is this a possible July 4th item or event? Don't know. Looks like a T-37 tank destroyer version, doesn't it? Like a little Tier 6 T-37 that's actually a tank destroyer. Like Hellcat-ish, T-37-ish kind of tank. Kind of cool. Britannia Panther. We'll get to that in just a minute because I do have that. I do have a review on it as well. All right, let's jump over to the Daily Bounce. This is Harkonnen's blog, also highly recommended by moi. Talks about the British tanks also. Tank Fest is going on. We did cover that. Here's an interesting thing, since we're going to talk a little bit about warships potentially. Hey, let's go on a tangent. Are you guys ready for a tangent? So I loaded up warplanes because I thought, well, let's do the trifecta. Let's be Guido, the wargaming player. We're going to do planes, trains, and automobiles. We're going to do planes, tanks, and ships. Ships already had running. So I load up planes. 30 gig or what, 25, whatever the hell it is. It's big. Load it all up. Start it up. I bought a brand new Thrustmaster joystick. So I got one of these big bad boys. It's got the throttle quadrant, so I have that as well. But I hadn't plugged it in. I start up airplanes and I say, oh crap, I did not plug in my joystick or my throttle quadrant. So I just click out of it, whatever. Plug them all in, make sure they're working okay, good. Start up airplanes again, and it never worked again. So something about not letting it start up the first time completely. Shut down the computer, restarted, tried again. It's borked. I screwed up something. So it will come up, I'll get the splash screen, and then it'll just crash to desktop, nothing, no one home. So I deleted it, and I'm going to have to restart it. So I may try planes as well. Where were we? What were we talking about? Oh, ships. So interesting thing about ships is they have a lot of premiums, and they go all the way up to tier 10. They don't even pretend with the whole premiums aren't better thing. So it's the Wild West over there. Also, see this thing right here? You're going to have to deal with a lot of non-historical anime, some anime-based, some just non-historical game-based kind of stuff on ships. They have Rogue Wave, and it's all post-apocalyptic, steampunk kind of stuff going on over there. So if that irritates you, then ships may not be your thing there, but don't bother me too much. It's a much slower pace than World of Tanks, even to some extent. I have found, though, that lower tiers I can do. Bots, obviously, are bots. You can handle those. Somewhere around tier 5, much like tanks. Around tier 5, because I just got the tier 5. There are some players, well, they're just better because they know what they're doing, and I don't, right? It's like me taking on a brand new tier 5 guy. I'm probably going to beat him in tanks nearly every time. What I'm talking about though is I'll show up. I'm in my little destroyer, moving along pretty quick. Some guy will fire from way off and absolutely nail me, and I'm just out of the game. I'm thinking, I don't even know how did that even happen. And I'll be firing away, and I'll occasionally hit a guy, and it'll take me forever to kill somebody. And dudes will be sniping my rear end from way across the map. I shouldn't be surprised. That's just how it works. You get good at a game, the new guy shows up, he's gonna struggle. So I may document those struggles as we go. Okay. That is all of that. Over to, excuse me, status report. All right. This, holy cow, that's Rita. All right, she's pretty excited about that. I guess she got to ride on a Yag Tiger, the Yag Panther. Okay. T54E2 super test is going on. This is another premium. This is a premium. It was a tier 9, I believe, medium tank that was in the files, and they down tiered it to an 8 and turned it into a heavy tank. It sort of looks like some kind of initial 103 or 110E5 design in there, same kind of series of tank, but it's going to be a tier 8 American premium heavy. Now that'll be interesting because what do we have? We got a T34, we have the T26E5. Are there any others? There may be another one or two in there. So about to get another one apparently in the near future. And I think that is all I wanted to talk about. Tank Museum Bovington. Yeah, this is the Bovington Tank Fest thing going on, and I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about right there. All right. Security risk. Ah, here we go. The tank rewards thing. Let's move on to that. Okay, let's talk about tank rewards and the gold compensation for the tanks. I mentioned earlier that I made a large video about this, and it was a bit speculatory in nature because I made it earlier in the week and this thing was just coming down. Now, I'm going to start by saying that this did not reach as fevered pitch as I thought it would, which was interesting in and of itself, although some people are irritated. But I think that speaks largely to just the beatdown on how these things go with wargaming, that people are finally just kind of whatever. If that's what they're going to do, it's what they're going to do. And the wailing and gnashing of teeth just isn't there anymore because it's just so commonplace. On the other hand, it's also a factor, and this is why I'm glad I didn't put the video out, because it was a little bit of an irritated kind of video. I was a bit irritated that it's maybe not as big a deal as I thought it was. But I'm going to mention it anyway because I think it's interesting in the industry and the game itself for World of Tanks. As a commenter on the passing World of Tanks scene, I thought it was another interesting episode in how wargaming works with customer service when they make a mistake. So what we had was tank rewards, and if you did X number of missions, then you would get enough points, and eventually you could get a free premium tier 6 tank. There were three choices, which are, I don't know, they're not here. Here it is: Cromwell, Sturv, and 3045. And it very clearly says right here, be advised that there will be no gold or credit compensation if you already own those tanks. I vehemently disagree with no credit. I think that's crappy, and it's cheap. Why not make, hey, if you have one of these tanks, then you get some reserves, or you get 2 garage slots instead of 1, because you will get the garage slot. You won't get the tank or the compensation, but you will get a garage slot. I don't know, something that makes, as you play through these missions, worthwhile. Because I'm a player too. Now I realize I'm a CC, so I get a lot of stuff from them, but coming at it from the angle of another player, somebody who has supported the game, supported the company, and bought all 3 of those vehicles. Let's say somebody bought all 3, and it's very possible. Lots of people do. And they look at the tank rewards and go, hey, cool, I can get some cool stuff, but when I get to the end, I can't get anything. Why? Because I can't get it because I supported you, and you're not going to give me anything other than nothing? That's crappy. I mean, it really is. It really is crappy. However, it's advertised, so I got it. It's in black and white right there, and that's not really the point. That's a small point. I think that's a sidebar. There should be something for people who own the tanks other than just a slot. That seems clear to me. But what actually happened was they made a mistake. When they coded this, or when they set up the system, whether it was information not given to the right person who was setting up, or they just set it up incorrectly, the first initial people who clicked on one of those just to see what happened, or to collect their garage slot, They knew they had the tank. They clicked on it, and guess what happened? They got the gold. That's how it used to be mixed. That's how it used to work. So my guess, let me just say one possibility, is they just grabbed the system from last time and plug and play, and kind of somebody forgot that they needed to change it to where you don't get the gold compensation. So it got splashed onto the forum. Wargaming got wind of it pretty quickly, and what did they do? Well, they had some choices. And this is why I am glad that I did not put that video out earlier, and I'm just going to add it here to Coffee Talk as a discussion item. Because at that point it was more speculation as to exactly what had happened and what they were going to do. Because there was some scuttlebutt about they were going to go in and pull the gold out of the people's accounts that got it. I also didn't know if they were going to go ahead and just leave it for the rest of tank rewards. That's not what happened, as a matter of fact. We'll talk about that in a minute. But now I have basically most of the facts, and we'll talk about how it happened. But I'm more interested in just the iterations of the response. So what they did is they cut it off. Whoever got in under the gate is kind of like Han Solo sliding under the closing door, or Indiana Jones later on sliding under the closing rock, or just getting away. If you slid under the door before it closed, you were safe, you got your gold. If you're on the other side, sucks to be you. And that was certainly one way to respond. For my money, you would just leave it for this iteration and say, you know what, we made a mistake. Fine, everybody go to the end. Just realize next time that there'll be no gold. Now, I brought this up with some of the community guys, and we did have a little discussion about it. First of all, before anyone, let's just say this: I have no pull on this, right? I don't tell them how it is. I can put my input. I can give my opinion, which is worth whatever you think it's worth. So when I say I discussed it with him, it's not like I went into the boardroom and said, all right, let's strategize this. I am simply commenting. I'm a commentator on the passing scene, as I've said. But the discussion was frank, and it was good, and it was open. And I was given, well, I wasn't given internal information of any kind. I was at least given honest answers as to what they were doing. And it basically came down to, they made a mistake, they're going to figure out the mistake, and they cut it off because it was never intended to be. It was never intended to be. I get that from a business in a vacuum standpoint, where you just cut your losses. I disagree completely from a customer standpoint, a PR standpoint. One of the points that was made to me was, well, you know, we can't please everyone all the time. That's a little bit of a flippant paraphrase. So realize that's not what I was told necessarily, but that was the general gist of it, that they have to cut their losses. They have monetary guys. They figure this out strategy-wise, and that was their best move. I just simply disagree with that from Guido's standpoint, from a player standpoint, from as a guy who's trying to bridge that community to company bridge right there. Because part of what I'm doing is that community bridge outreach thing, you know, without putting too much emphasis on what my actual reach is, or what my actual, I'm gonna say job. It's not my job. I'm a CC. I'm playing a game. I've been given access so I can showcase some of the stuff that they do. It's a bit of a symbiotic relationship, but there is the independent side where I'm able to say what I want to say without having the company saying and say, hey, here's the talking points, what you have to say. So there's a bit of freedom right there. And that's basically how it went down, right? Somebody made a mistake. People who got in early got their gold. People who got in late did not get their gold. There's no compensation of any kind other than a garage slot for finishing it if you've got all the tanks, and that's where we stand. I just thought it was kind of fascinating, and really the discussion afterwards with the community guys just coming down basically to, they didn't see any real benefit to keeping the gold there and creating a bridge, or coming forward and saying, you know, hey, there was a mistake, so we're just going to let everyone get it. I don't know. I think that's kind of strange to me, to be quite honest. I understand where they're coming from. I do, from a corporate standpoint. But this is a video game, and one thing I did mention to them is, I said, you know, with the way that the gaming community is right now vis-a-vis monetization if you reference EA's struggles, especially with their community. Gamers in general are in not a really good mood for this kind of thing. And even if it's not a big deal, and even if it wasn't done on purpose, every time something like this shows up and it's handled the way it was handled, it's just another kind of nail at the, I'm not going to say in the coffin because the game's not dying, but it's just another irritation. Let's say that's another piece of sand. I've said that before, right? You get that one piece of sand in the wrong place, and it's just a piece of sand, but my God, is it annoying. You get enough sand in there and you're going to go wash yourself and you'll never deal with it again. That's random. I don't know. So I'm glad I did not put that video out. There was a little speculation in it. I was a little bit irritated at the time. I just wanted to throw that out. As I mentioned earlier, it did not evolve into as big a deal as I thought it would be, which to me is a little bit unfortunate because there's no pressure being put on the company on this. It's just going to go away, and that's, for them, that's the best possible scenario, right? Some people got it. Those people will be happy. Some people didn't. It wasn't very many people. They'll be a little unhappy, but not unhappy enough to leave, and we're good. We, mistake over. For me, I feel like in those situations, you actually have an opportunity to make PR points, to make customer points. And I don't believe it's giving away the farm. That was sort of the idea that was given to me. And not giving away the farm as in, holy cow, the whole economy is going to collapse. But it would have added extra gold into the economy. I got it. I am not privy to what their strategy is right now vis-a-vis their economy. So maybe this went completely counter to what they're trying to do right now. That's very possible. But I really don't think in North America, with the number of players we have and the number of people who actually finished tank rewards, that had you extended the gold for everyone who finished it, who had the tank for the next week or whatever it was going to be, I would think it was about a week because it ended today. It was going to do nothing but add to goodwill. It's going to do nothing but add to goodwill. As it is, I think you have a net loss. It's not much, but I'm betting you have a net loss. Hard to quantify. You can't really objectively measure that other than people stop playing your game, and that takes a long time to develop. And you can't pin that down to this one event anyway. But that's always been my point. It's the drip, drip, drip into the bucket. Drip, drip, drip. And you might say, well, that drip doesn't matter, but it does over time. And why would you just let the drip in there when you didn't have to? That's kind of my point. Okay, that is it. Forum post of the week. This is a good one. Let's move on. Let's finish this up. All right, so this is great. God bless Talgrim for trying. Talgrim. He and I think, have a very similar approach to the game as far as teaching it and learning. And I'm only really talking about basic philosophy. I played in a platoon with him a few times. Obviously, extremely good player, knows what he's talking about, has a lot of knowledge about the game. So he puts in a post. He doesn't engage too much on the official forums, but he does engage. And I don't know what triggered him, but there have been a lot of crazy posts lately, and a couple posters in particular. I think I've actually highlighted a couple of them in the last few weeks, who are essentially the conspiracy theorist. It's not my fault. It's matchmaker. It's RNG. It's the way the game's built. We need skill-based matchmaking. All this stuff. Anyway, Talgrim comes in here and puts a pretty well thought out post in here, and it's called "Someday in Some Magical Land Called Accountability." So right off the bat, it is a little bit of a kind of poke in the eye, but it's not bad. He's not yelling at people. He's not really talking to anyone specifically, although plenty of people will project that upon themselves. People will stop whining about any and all of the following. Right? Someday they will stop whining. Everyone who has better stats than me is either rerolled or cheats. I'm much better than my stats say. Matchmaker conspires to put me on losing teams. I get worse RNG than other players. So that was the start. And then he breaks it down. It's an incredibly high skill cap game. That's something I've talked about. And essentially the bottom line of his post is, look, if you want to get good at the game, then study the game. Put the effort in. If you don't, that's fine, fantastic, but don't be surprised when you're not good at the game, right? So if you're a baseball player and you don't want to practice, don't be surprised you didn't make the majors, right? If you are a physicist and you don't want to study, don't be surprised if you don't get a good physicist job because you don't know that much about your craft. I mean, if you're a pilot and you want to fly fighters, then you better work hard, right? And then we're off to the races, right? I mean, we are absolutely off to the races. I'll let you take a look at it. It's on the forum. It's fantastic. You get the whole gamut of responses. You know, it's just a game. You're a complete loser if you spend any time on a game. It's a hobby, dude. Yeah, it's a game. It's a hobby. Your priorities are terrible. Some guys launch into, I do this, that, and the other. I'm a volunteer. I don't have time for this. Which they don't necessarily say you're a loser, but the implication of all that is, hey, dude, hey, dude, that's good at the game. You are messing up in life because your priorities are wrong. Oh, really? I mean, come on, man. It's a hobby. Like anything you do in life, whatever it is, if you want to get good at it, practice it, study it, get good at it. It's a hobby. It's your job. It's your kids. It's volunteering. It's whatever it is. Your career, all that stuff. I mean, it's so simple on the surface that if you want to be good at it, stop blaming everything else than yourself. The noise around it, the irritants, the things that make it difficult, those are all things that you have to take into account. But to blame just those things for your inability is absolutely, categorically stupid. It really is. All those things can make it harder, right? I get bad RNG. My matchmaker is bad for the day or the match or whatever. That's something I have to struggle against, right? But ultimately, it is you. And I just loved the responses because typically the very same people that are denying that it's their fault are denying that this is true, which is hilarious. And so finally had to come back. There's 6 pages here. To be clear, it doesn't matter whether you're good or bad at this game. However, if you're bad, this is the important. And insist on whining and conspiracy theories, you're wasting energy that would be better spent actually getting better. And this is a fantastic point. And it's the point that was in here obviously from the beginning, but he actually had to spell it out because, like I said, people went actually kind of crazy. I always enjoy when they come up with well, you're just an elitist. You think I'm a bad person because I'm bad at the game. Not once does he say that. There's nothing in here. And any good player that responded, none of them said, well, in life, you're actually a loser because you can't play Watt very good. And I'm actually a very accomplished person because I play Watt really good. No one said that. As a matter of fact, the only people who said that kind of thing were the bad players making excuses. I mean, it's fantastic. What a great study in human nature this forum was. This is one of my favorite forum posts and responses of all time. There's so much good stuff. Oh, man. Anyway, good stuff. I highly recommend it if you want a good laugh. But his points here are all good ones. Take a read of it. Also good stuff. And it's something I've been talking about for a long time. Really, if you want to get good at the game, put a little effort into it. And, just to talk a little bit about the part where people say I don't have time or it's a waste of time. If you play the game for an hour a day or a couple hours a day or a couple hours every 3 days, whatever time you put into it, make it good time. Pay attention to what you're doing. Try to learn something that day, right? Be a little self-analytical, a little self-critical, a little self-aware. That if you made a mistake, it was your mistake, and maybe you can learn something. Now, will you become Super Unicum 3500 Win 8 guy by doing that? Probably not. Can you get better from where you are? Absolutely. Wherever you are right now, you can get better. Now, there's a point at which you're at a very high performance level, and then physical capabilities or other things can happen, then you can decline. But you can always try to improve from where you are, or at least hold back the advance of time, I guess. There is an argument at some point, obviously a Major League Baseball player or some very high-level athlete or even a high-level academic. If they get older and their faculties start to decline, whether it's physical or mental, then yes, your performance is going to decrease. But we're talking a video game here, and for the vast majority of people, you can probably get a little better wherever you are right now, right? Unless you're already elite. And if you're already elite, then you don't need me telling you all this. You already get it. Okay, man, that was good. Let's wrap this thing. Actually, we're gonna. I'll spit it out. We're gonna talk about one post, because I think this is actually very descriptive of the point I've been making. This guy says, "OP, since you think you are so great," nowhere in there did he say he was so great. He was just talking about how you get good. As a sidebar, he is really great at the game. Does that make him a great person? I don't know him. Doesn't matter. That's not the point. He's really good at the game. He's actually really good at teaching the game. I infer from what I've seen on his channel and the way he interacts with people that he's actually a decent person also. But I don't know that necessarily. But I don't care, really, because what I'm talking about is getting good at a silly game. All right, so since you think you are so great, again, not mentioned, even though he is great at the game, explain to us the one thing all of you elitists, so now here's the name calling, all you elitists, keep overlooking. How the other 29 players in a battle do not influence anything. Never once did he say that. How the vehicle profiles of each battle do nothing, he never said that, to affect the outcome, and it is all your actions that determine whether you win or lose. He never said that. The response from Avalon is good. I think Avalon's on the channel on occasion. I think I've seen him on the stream. No one, literally no one, says the other 29 players in the battle don't influence the battle. What people say is that better players influence it more and do so on a far more consistent, this is the big key in this game, consistency, and that the consistent influence is reflected in stats like their win rate and their win rate and other statistics provided. That is so important to understanding your stats and in a larger sample size in this game, how it is that you're affecting the game. It's consistency. A Super Unicum will be much more consistent. A red player, yellow player, whatever color, I don't use them, but can occasionally reach Super Unicum results in one battle. A Super Unicum is going to have more of those battles. That's how it works. That's how it works. That this is their skill that allows them to provide that consistent influence. Okay? Important. People such as yourself continue to act from a position of either ignorance or denial. Now, this is where I wish he wouldn't have gone. I think he could have done better just to describe what he described without saying that, because that's where the name calling comes in, and then no one's listening. It's all dog whistle. You suck. You're an elitist. You suck. You're an, that's where it is. But the point of it is incredibly important. All right, now we're going to finish. Well, that is pretty much it, guys. Happy Sunday. Have a good one. I got to get out to the grocery store and pick up some groceries. Wife's recovering nicely from the surgery. Got my new flag in the background. Go America, we're the best. You all suck. Let's throw that out there. I have to stay true to form, right? I have to stay true to form. Whatever that form is. What did we talk about? All kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. I really enjoyed the forum post of the week. I think that was one of my favorite forum posts. I enjoyed the entire week watching that grow and all of the angst. Missions and specials. What else? What else? The tank rewards thing. I thought that was kind of interesting. But that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to wrap this up. We are going to edit this bad boy and get it out there for you guys. We will see you all later. I almost forgot. We're going to have another scavenger hunt. Another scavenger hunt for July. So watch out for that. I can't give the schedule away, but I'm one of the early ones. Also, I'm going on vacation the last 2 weeks of July, so you won't see any live coffee talks. Actually, I might do them from my deployed location, but we'll find out if I get to that. I'm going to be on vacation, so I may not have the time. Oh, who am I kidding? I'll find the time. It won't be this format. Let's put it this way. It will be live from the cabin. Live from the cabin. Scavenger hunt, vacation. That's what I wanted to add. Now we will see you later.